So today I wasn't going to upload, simply because I didn't have an idea for a video. Now I was going to try and milk BG Media, but to be honest with you, there's not really much to make videos about anymore. The channel itself is quite good now, to be honest with you, and I mean, Little T did upload like a send for Millie B a couple days ago, but I mean, it's not bad, like there's nothing really to take the mick out of. So I thought I'd leave it and just let Will and E do it, because if I don't, then I'm just going to get called a memulous copy in the comments. So I had a comment on one of my videos, right, telling me to make a video about an old teacher that I had, and this comment obviously was from someone I know in real life. Now you can kind of call this a story if you really wanted to, but I'm just going to tell you about specific events really about this certain teacher. So to give a little backstory, right, this all started, like this took over like 3 years, right, but this all started when I was in year 9, so I would have been around 13 or 14 I want to say, and this lasted till I was like what, 16 or something, Jesus. But anyway, at the end of year 8 in my school, right, which is when you were around 12 or 13, you basically had to pick your options, right, and if they call it anything different anywhere else, options are basically you pick subjects that you want to do and you drop subjects that you don't want to do, right. Now obviously at school you can't drop maths and you can't drop English because pretty much everyone probably would have dropped it at this point. No, they picked most of the subjects for you that you had to do, but then you could choose between all the others you wanted to do, right. You could pick like history, you could pick geography, you could pick, I don't know, French, Spanish, and one of the subjects on there was media, right. And me personally, I like to have a pretty easy life, right, so I picked this subject because I thought it'd be easy. Big mistake, never ever do that. Like when I finished school and started going to college, for the first year I did A-levels, right, and I picked like computer science, graphics and maths because my dad told me I had to take maths. But I picked graphics and computer science because I thought they were going to be so easy, right. I thought I was going to go in Photoshop, type in a load of text, and then use the paintbrush tool and just do that every single day. And with computer science I thought I'd just be going on a computer every lesson, Jesus. But that's not what happened at all. And because I failed all the exams for the A-levels, I had to redo my first year and do a BTEC instead, which isn't bad at all really. I mean, it's basically the same, you just don't do exams. But there's still going to be a memulous fanboy in the comments making a BTEC joke when he doesn't actually know what a BTEC is. But back to the story, right, I decided to choose media, right, and that was simply because I thought it was going to be easy. Like I thought it'd be like, I don't know, editing stuff in Sony Vegas, or you know, just going on the internet really, and those were the furthest things from what it actually was. Now obviously we did use computers in the lessons, like we made our own website pages and stuff, but for the most part this subject was basically just another version of English. Like in the normal English lessons you'd write like, I don't know, just about whatever, you'd write a story in the exam, and this you'd write about a newspaper. It was so tragic. And don't even get me started on the actual teacher for the subject, Jesus. So I'm not going to give this teacher a name because I don't want anyone to start looking her up, even though you probably wouldn't be able to find her, so we're just going to refer to her as a teacher, right. Now this teacher, she was about 50 years old I want to say, maybe a little bit younger, but you're kind of around that age, right. Now we walk into our first lesson, right, and the first lesson is basically just getting to know the teacher and getting to know the class really. Now we don't really do too much in this lesson, but she goes around the room, right, and asked us why we all picked media, and she told us what we'd be doing in the lesson, and this was when I realised I made a huge mistake picking this subject. To be honest with you, I didn't really mind the teacher that much. She was kind of just a bit annoying at times. Like there was one other teacher at this school, right, I would absolutely dread his lessons, right. The night before, like, I had a lesson with him, wouldn't be able to sleep, right, that's how scared I was of him. But this teacher wasn't really the same, right, partly because I just saw everything that she said as a joke. Now don't get me wrong, I wasn't the kid to mess around in school, right, I was completely the opposite. Obviously my grades weren't great, they were pretty much average really, but still I wasn't really one to mess around in the class. But this teacher had it in for absolutely everyone, right, and I'm not even joking. Like this subject you had to do a lot of coursework in it, right, and if you don't know what coursework is, it's basically just work you do in class where it goes towards your exam but it's not an exam at the same time, if that makes any sense. So it's pretty easy, the teacher can mark it and give it back to you, so basically you get an A every single time as long as you turn up to the lessons. Now most of the people in this class, like me, picked it because they thought it'd be an easy subject, and when this teacher mentions coursework 6 months into the year, people aren't having that at all. I want to say about 50% of the class managed to do all the work when it was due in, and only a few more people than that actually managed to do it at all. But the thing is with coursework, right, the teacher wants you to get as good of a grade as possible in that, so if you mess up the exam in the end, it's not going to completely screw you over. And obviously teachers want you to do well in the exams and all that just because it makes them look good as well. Now this sounds all good, right, until they actually mark your work, and then they start giving it back to you and make you improve it. Now pretty much everyone in the class got screwed over by this, myself included. But the thing is, right, she'd mark all your work, right, and then like do all the corrections on it and make you go back and put those corrections in. And the amount of times I did this was absolutely unbelievable. And this is because she'd do all these corrections, right, and I'd do the correction, I'd put them in the work and then hand it back in, and she'd give it back to me with more corrections. Like what? But she was not having this, right? As soon as you challenged her about this, she would just not have it at all. And whenever she had a massive go at the class, like when she stood at the front of the class and just shouted at absolutely everyone in the room, no one could take her seriously, right? It was so funny. And she knew this as well, so she had to get like the head of English out, like Jesus Christ, to come into the class and talk to us. And they started threatening our prom tutors after that, oh my god. Saying stuff like, if you don't come and do my corrections, then you won't be able to go to prom. And to be honest with you, no one really cared about prom. I mean, I didn't. I mean, I still went in the end, but it wasn't really anything special. It reminded me of a year 6 dance. I mean, if we could have been there getting absolutely steaming, then maybe it would have been a little bit better. But literally the only thing we were allowed to drink was water, which was a bit tragic, to be honest with you. But because this teacher managed to scream at us so much over the course of these 3 years that I was doing this subject, she ended up losing her voice towards like the last month or so that we were at school. And I think she's still lost her voice now. Like, I'm not even joking. She had this like microphone thing, right, with like speakers all around our classroom so she could whisper into the microphone so people would still be able to hear her. But I mean, that's karma for getting the head of English on us for no reason. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video today. I don't really know where it went, to be perfectly honest with you. If you want to see more stories on my channel, then be sure to leave this video a like. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. And all that said, guys, I will see you in my next video. I'm out. Peace.